So today I'm going to talk about what training for a ultra distance cycling race taught me about sustainability. So I think a lot of sustainability discussions centre around either no growth or potentially even degrowth. But I think there is a way to grow sustainably, and in this video I'm just going to outline how I learned about that and how I came to that decision based on my experiences. So in this video I'm going to discuss how training for a 300k ultra distance cycling event taught me a lot about sustainable growth. So there's a bit of background. My first foray into sustainable growth actually came from exercise. When lockdown hit, I decided that I really wanted to get very fit. I had a lot more free time on my hands because there was no social events, there was no commuting, and I'd always been terrible at running, and I actually had just put on a lot of weight, so I decided that I wanted to get into cycling to help lose that weight. So I started out with my kind of usual approach, which is I'm just going to exercise every day. I'm going to work out using weights in the morning, and I'm going to cycle in the afternoon. And that worked quite well for a while, but the problem was that eventually I would get so fatigued, I would burn out, and it would just get harder and harder to get up and get motivated to do my workout. And interestingly, what eventually happened is I got injured, so I put my back out and I was forced to rest for 2 weeks. So I would call that an unsustainable kind of workout routine. I was pushing myself every day, but wasn't giving my body time to adapt, and essentially just ended up blowing up and being forced to stop. And that's obvious to me. Like, as I've mentioned before, our body is a complex system, so it's not a linear system, so you're not getting 1 unit of exercise in and getting 1 unit of progress out. What you're getting is 1 unit of exercise in, and then some complex adaptive system adaptation is happening, and you may or may not get the progress out. You may even get some deprogress. So yeah, understanding that your body is a complex adaptive system, progress isn't linear, so you need to account for that in your training. Otherwise, it will happen to you naturally, or it will get forced on you. So I discovered my solution through following a structured training program. I actually got a Watt bike, and they have these training programs which basically have you doing 3 weeks on, then a rest week, and then 3 weeks on again. This way of doing training blocks, of periodizing your rests, was based on the idea of like polarization. So the aim being that you stress your body outside of its comfort zone, but you also then give it time to rest and recover and kind of consolidate that. And that's a much better way of dealing with progress with a complex adaptive system like your body. You need time to consolidate that gain, because we know that growth is not perfectly linear. It's going to be a bit up and down. What I also found is that through having good rest periods, I was able to push myself much harder in the training sessions. And also I enjoyed things like there's periodization on the weeks as well, so Monday would be rest day. So I actually really look forward to that day where I had an extra 2 hours or whatever to just do admin or attend to other areas and parts of my life. So that periodization, rest periods actually worked really well. But the absolute beauty of this training plan is it was sustainable. So I was able to do this consistently for about 2 to 3 years, I would say. And I went from being probably 240 pounds, not being able to cycle 60k, to down to, I think it was 190 pounds. So what's that, a 50 pound weight loss, and being able to cycle the Frontier 300, which is a 300 kilometre coast to coast gravel race starting in Scotland. So for me that was an absolute testament to sustainable growth. So if my training program was not sustainable, there is no way I would have been able to get to that level of endurance. And that was all down to the rest periods, and it's all down to recognizing that you need to do kind of careful growth, not pushing yourself too hard, and allowing time to consolidate that growth as well. So yeah, I mean, I can talk about my weight loss journey in another video as well. I mean, that's a constant battle for me, and I'm constantly learning, but I'm now applying the kind of periodization, rest period technique to that as well. And then for some reason, just the human body just works really well with that, and the human mind works well with that as well. And I think it's because we don't always just have one sole goal, or just variety is just really important. So I've often been wondering, like, can we apply this concept as well to other areas where we want to grow sustainably? Like, it works with an individual as a complex adaptive system. Can it work as the world? Can it work? So I think a similar application can be made, you know, as a model of the world. So we seem to have this idea that the world should be growing at a constant rate forever in that linear kind of fashion, but we know that the world is a complex adaptive system and it's just not going to happen. So what happens? We force that growth every year, we maybe take excessive risks, and then inevitably what we don't, you know, do the foundations and take time to consolidate and look at, you know, potential risks that could take us out. And then what happens is we're forced to stop. We get the injury, we blow up. So COVID is a classic example. We're progressing, but no one put in place any precautionary measures about dealing with a global pandemic outbreak. So we ended up just blowing up. Look at the banking sector. In 2008, it just kept taking excessive risks and didn't take time to stop and say, hey, is this the right thing for everyone? And blew up, took that forced rest. So people might find this too out there, but like, yeah, what if we had a forced rest period every 10 years where we recognised that global growth was going to be negative, so we took that time to focus on other things like filling in gaps, you know, putting in place, you know, preventative measures, looking at where risks might have built up in the system. I feel like that could be much more sustainable, and we definitely would have taken the time to address climate change if that had been the case. So yeah, that's how training for a 300k cycling or gravel event taught me about sustainable growth. Yeah, so thanks for tuning in today. If you like this video, don't forget to like and subscribe for more content. If you've got any comments or questions, leave them in the comment section down below, and I'll see you in the next video.